Band-Aid, do they know it's Christmas on BBC Radio Oxford? It's 10:22, it's Friday, and a little earlier than usual. It is time to talk all things movies, because obviously loads of new movies come out on a Friday, and that is where I enlist the help of movie critic Van Connor, who doesn't sit still. He's all over the country most of the week, going to see all these movies so that he can come and talk to us about them. So please welcome back to the show, Van Connor, drinking coffee on the go, I can see. How you doing? You're right.
Naturally, it's my default mode, you know this. So I've got to say, there's not much out this Friday, sad to say. So we've kind of had to cobble together on this one. So I've got one for you that's on Disney Plus, and then I've got one that's actually on limited theatrical release. So we'll start with Nutcrackers. And do you remember, did you grow up on Uncle Buck like I did?
Oh my goodness, yes. One of my favourite films as a kid was Uncle Buck. I just, like, so many moments in there with the car and the smoke coming out the back and the clapping to turn the lights on. Honestly, it was one of my best. I loved it. Watched it about 50 times.
This movie would really, really like to be Uncle Buck, but like adjusted for cultural inflation, and it just comes out really, really bad as a result. So it's called Nutcrackers, like, you know, plural. And it stars Ben Stiller as a wayward, sort of like isolated, middle-aged uncle who returns to the family homestead when his sister and her husband are killed in an accident. I think it's a car accident. And their 4 children, their 4 boys, are basically need him to sign them into the foster care system. And he has to go to this hometown, and to sign them over, it all falls apart, and he has to find them a new family. But he might thaw to them over time. Do you think? Maybe, possibly, because it's a movie, right?
You'd hope so, yeah. You'd hope so. Does it get you feeling Christmassy, though? Is it like a proper Christmassy movie?
There is a bit of a Christmassy sort of vibe to it. There's definitely that, but it is mostly just Ben Stiller bickering with these 4 really, really savage, monstrous, terrifying children. I don't have children. I'm now terrified too as a result of this movie. I've got a clip for you anyway, and this is him dealing with these absolute savages.
Where's in your cell phone reception?
Got in the sticks, homie.
You get service in the middle of the pond?
Oh, wait a minute! I got something! I got a bar! I got
I want chicken.
Fresh chicken.
Oh, no, we're not gonna do fresh chicken.
I got it!
We'll take it from here.
That's Elizabeth.
You said her name was Elizabeth?
Delicious.
Van. I'm shaking my head while I'm listening to that, and I'll tell you the first reason why. They've stolen the music from Home Alone. You don't do that.
I know, sacrilege, isn't it? The whole weird thing is as well, that clip that we've got there, that makes it sound quite jaunty and fun, but the movie is so low energy and downbeat, and like Ben Stiller feels like he really doesn't want to be there. And so you feel bored watching it as a result because he seems so bored. And then you've got the kids who are just terrifying, like outright, they're just not funny or charming, they're just horrifying little goblin creatures. And it just doesn't work as a movie at all. It's just so perfunctory and by the numbers and bored by itself that you honestly I felt like it was one of the worst movies I've seen this year.
Wow.
Genuinely, I couldn't understand any more or less why it had been dumped onto streaming, because it was just this damning indictment of where we are as a cinematic culture, that these stars could simply just go through the motions to print money doing sod all.
Well, you don't have to pay, essentially, to see this movie if you already subscribe to Disney Plus, because it is out on Disney Plus from today. So there you go. You can have a little look yourself this weekend if you want to try and get festive and give it a whirl. Okay, moving on. Is our next movie any better? It's called Rumours. I know nothing about this one.
It is better, but it's a bit more wacky and weird. So,
okay,
right. This is a movie. Best described as what would happen if Ari Aster produced his own take on... produced his own take on Triangle of Sadness, only you don't have to be as pretentious to enjoy it. So it stars Cate Blanchett and Nikki Amuka Bird and Charles Dance, and they are amongst the leaders at the G7. You know, the G7 conference where the world leaders meet to discuss matters. They are the 7 leaders who get together for the G7, and they are having like lunch under the gazebo one afternoon, and the staff all disappear. The sun sets, and they realise that they've been abandoned. There's no one else around. They get lost in the woods for the night, and then beset upon by what seem to be weird supernatural sources, all whilst they bicker amongst themselves and try and resolve their personal disagreements and fight their literal personal demons as well as these actual literal ones, which may or may not be protester zombies, as you can hear from this clip.
We had to flee the gazebo. We were attacked by dark, shadowy figures. Protesters.
That's what I thought too at first. But they didn't have signs. They didn't chant any slogans, and if they objected to any specifics in our program, they didn't say so.
I believe they were protesters, if a little unconventional.
They were not protesters.
What then? The press, spies, goblins?
Shh, this is serious, Maxie.
What were they then? Terrorists?
Something less than terrorists, and something more.
But you say that they attacked you?
Well attacked. They loomed, threatening me.
Their demeanour was quite aggressive, quite hostile.
Very grumpy.
Who's the actor at the start of that sounds remarkably like Anthony Hopkins?
Oh, that is Charles Dance, who is basically playing Joe Biden here. Like, there's no bones about it. He's just doing this parody of Biden. Like, he nods off, like, mid-sentence. And things like that. And, of course, it's Charles Dance. So it's immediately 10 times more fun as well.
Excellent. So what would you give this one out of 5, then? Is this one worth it?
This is good fun, I think, but it's not what you'd call a crowd pleaser. Like, it's fun to me on a sort of Armando Iannucci level. Like,
right.
It has the thick of it sort of level delivery where everything is thick and fast. If you saw The Death of Stalin or anything like that, very much this kind of crowd, I think, for this one. But I think not really one that's going to get them packing in or satisfied at the multiplex on a Saturday night, if you know what I mean.
I'm really shocked that there's not a lot out at the moment, because obviously this is like the prime time to really get in the really good Christmassy movies, the romantic comedies, all ready for Christmas, and it's just a little bit quiet, unfortunately. But you can watch Rumours in Oxford. It's only showing at The View in Oxford if you want to, and as I said, Nutcrackers is on Disney Plus right now if you want to watch that at home this weekend. Before you go, Van, is there anything on the horizon for next week that's worth talking about? Is there anything big coming up?
We've got an interesting one next week, which is that animated Lord of the Rings movie. It's like a full-blown anime Lord of the Rings movie that they're releasing in cinemas. They've only done this so they can hold on to the rights. But it's got this like name cast that includes Brian Cox and people like that. And it's about the king who Helm's Deep is named after. It's like 10,000 years or something before the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Brian Cox as in the Professor Brian Cox from D-Ream?
No, the Succession Brian Cox.
Right, okay, just checking, because that would be a bit random. Excellent.
Very, very, but things can only get better.
Nicely done. Van, have a lovely weekend. We will catch up on Friday next week to see what you got, all right?
Till the next time, good stuff.